It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Oh yeah. At first, I thought it was just black.
No, I don't know
Rock
if you can see
maroon.
that. Let's see. Yeah, it's
Oh yeah. Okay.
Cleveland-esque.
Yeah, that is definitely that qualifies as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wine gold.
I wonder if
Uh,
that's why LeBron's a wino.
Maybe. I mean, it
Could have
could
sparked
be.
it.
Could have sparked it. Yeah. So while you were attending church today, I was busy revisiting the opening chapters of the King James Gospel. Um, I went back and I reread the Sports Illustrated article from when he was a junior in high school, the chosen one. Um, and I watched the intro to his first televised game his senior year with St. Vincent St. Mary.
Hmm.
And they open it up with a montage of clips of Wilt and Oscar and Kareem and Magic and Bird and Jordan and Shaq and Kobe. And they frame it as
The common thread among all these legends is simple. They're known by a single name. And now, as we look to the future, a young man called LeBron attempts to earn that same distinction. Can LeBron James take his first step toward legendary status? Find out next.
That's really
and
cool.
it is very cool, but also he is a goddamn high schooler.
Yeah.
And you're putting that on him right out of the gate. Um, a year or not quite a year earlier, he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and they open the article talking about a meeting between him and MJ. And by like the third paragraph, they call him the heir apparent.
Jeez.
So they did not slow play this at all, and obviously, you know, LeBron gets the chosen one tattooed on his body. So he's not necessarily shying away from it. But even all these years later, almost 25 years now since, you know, his arrival in the national consciousness,
Hmm.
it still is crazy to me that that is the treatment that he got and the expectations that were put on his shoulders before he could vote in an election, before he could. I mean, he was 3 years away from being able to buy liquor.
Yep.
It's just it is still crazy to me that that is how it started, and now we're here in 2025, and he's still playing in the NBA.
Oh, it's incredible. It's
It boggles the mind.
it's incredible that they put so much on a 17, 16-year-old kid. Like, why do you put that much pressure on a
Mhm.
16-year-old kid? That's kind of like unthinkable. And then what might be more unthinkable is that he did everything that they said he was going to do and more. And that's like,
Yeah.
how? Why did that happen? Like, how? But I'm actually looking at the Slam magazine. So he was on the Sports Illustrated as a senior. As a junior, though, he was on the Slam magazine, and it he looks so young. Like he just that's maybe because I'm older now. And like growing up, LeBron always just kind of looked very mature for his age, and
Yeah.
but when I see he's a 16-year-old. Like when I'm seeing this now, I'm like this kid's 16 years old, and they're saying that. I mean, I don't. It wasn't the chosen one, but it says in the a part of the headline that he's the chosen one. But that wasn't like the main title. That was Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
But even in Slam, as a 16-year-old, they're calling him out as the next guy. Um, yeah, obviously he was the first person that I remembered having like a high school game televised. And I remember after LeBron, you would see, I think Dwight was on TV.
He
And
was.
that,
I still have a Dwight Howard high school game on VHS.
yep. And now high school basketball is like a huge moneymaker. I mean,
Hmm.
you have all of these AAU tournaments that are televised. You have these prep schools that are playing all over the country, all over the world. It He was the one who kind of started that because I before that was unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, we knew about Zion, we knew about Cooper Flag, we knew
Hmm.
about uh I mean, even to, it's a little different because he played overseas, but we knew about Luca and Wemby. We knew
Yeah,
about all those guys as 16, 17-year-olds, but really LeBron and, to some extent Kobe too, because Kobe was a highly touted prospect.
he was.
But
I
it
just
was
don't
a
think
different
in the
level.
national, like the
Right.
national news, it wasn't. It just wasn't as covered.
Right. No, definitely not. Um, and they put that on him as a high schooler, and he comes into the league, wins Rookie of the Year, and then by his second season, we were talking about this the other day. He's on the cover of Sports Illustrated again in February 2005, so not even halfway through his second season. And the caption on it says "Best ever?" question mark. And now you could make the case 20 years later that turned out to be potentially pretty accurate. Props to Sports Illustrated for
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
ahead of the curve. They posed that question early. But again, 20 years old, has yet to play a playoff game, maybe has 100 regular season games under his belt. And that is the way that he was being talked about. And
And paid. Don't
yeah,
forget, he got that nice Nike contract
he
before
got a
he
very nice
played. I
Nike
mean, was
contract.
it
You are
90
absolutely
mil,
right.
10-year, 90 million, I think, or was it 9 years, 90 million? I'm not sure. Um,
I don't know off the top. I don't
'Cause I
remember
think he
off
was
the top of my
making
head
10 a
though.
year.
Though what's
So
interesting though in that Sports Illustrated article is they're talking with Sonny Vaccaro because at
yeah,
that point it was still conversation of like, is it going to be Nike? Is it going to be Adidas?
great movie
Um,
on him, by the way. I don't know if you ever
oh,
saw it.
Air.
Yeah,
Oh, Air is excellent.
yeah, great movie.
Fantastic movie. I saw that at a movie theater in Bakersfield, California.
Love that.
Fun fact. Yep.
Love that.
Was blown away.
But go ahead.
Um,
I'm sorry.
yeah, so yeah, he, in the Sports Illustrated article, they're talking about how it's going to be a bidding war between Adidas and Nike. Um, they also have a quote from Danny Ainge, who says that if LeBron were able to come into the 2002 draft as a junior, he would be the no-brainer number one pick.
That's crazy because that was Yao.
That was Yao and Jay Williams.
Right.
You
Right.
have one of the most successful college point guards coming from the most prestigious program in the nation that's a pretty strong 1-2. It's not, they
Right.
didn't pan out necessarily to be what people I think maybe hoped or expected they would be in 2002, but like it's not like that was the Kwame Brown
No,
class
no.
or the Kenyon Martin class. Like,
Right. Right. Anthony
both
Bennett.
of those guys were looked at as top tier
Yeah. Oh
prospects
God,
coming
yeah.
into the NBA,
Absolutely.
and Ainge was like, he would be no brainer number one, and I think he said there would only be 4 or 5 guys in the NBA right now that I'd rather have than him.
Yeah. I mean, again, super smart call, but it's just
Yeah, again, not
like,
necessarily wrong.
you know what's crazy about it? And I think we may have talked about this before, but the idea that these great expectations and some of the things that the media was saying about him or how the media was covering him, I felt like was the divider in you either love him or you hate him. Because I
Mhm.
feel like when, if you're team LeBron and you're hearing these things, your perspective of kid's 18 years old. Could you just let him play a little bit? Like, give him a
Mhm.
chance. Like, he's going to be great, but, don't put so much pressure on him. And it's all about the pressure. And then on the other end, I feel like when you're hearing those things, it's like, this kid hasn't even played a game yet, and you're already saying he's the greatest? Like, make him prove it. And
Yeah.
I felt like it just started the nitpicking of him literally on like the lottery. It was the night of the lottery. I felt like is when the media just started everything about him it was just very scrutinized. So I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but I just felt like the way that they cover it, it divided. It was like you either had to choose. You couldn't just appreciate like what he was doing as a player.
No, I mean he is certainly, I think it's fair to say, the most polarizing athlete of the quarter century. Like, we're 25 years in. I think that he pretty comfortably has that distinction. And
Yes.
it just so happens that right from the start, and literally it was the day I saw him on Sports Illustrated, I decided that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there are probably a lot of people who, when you were introduced to him at that stage, and it's a post MJ world that we're living in at that point, February 2002. Jordan's back with the Wizards, but it's not the same, and
No.
we covered that. Um, but I think that there might have been a good number of basketball fans who, after MJ leaves Chicago, don't have a guy, and then LeBron comes along, and you're like, okay, I'll go on this ride with him, and that was absolutely the case for 10-year-old Sonny.
Yep.
I remember the day I was in the grocery store with my parents. We were getting stuff for my birthday party that night, and the day before, the Sports Illustrated with him on the cover came out, and then as my mom was doing her grocery shopping, I was in the magazine aisle reading that story, and it was like, okay, that's it.
Right.
Um, but you know, all this time removed from it, I I feel like my perspective on why people dislike LeBron, I have a greater understanding of that because a lot was put on him right away, and to be fair, there were a number of times where he didn't necessarily shy away from it. Like I said, he got
Right.
the chosen one tattooed on himself.
Right.
That is a
No, I
target,
mean
so to
he
speak.
he embraced it. He
Yeah.
embraced it, and for that, like looking I respect the crap out of it. Like at the time when things weren't necessarily, and I'm gonna say things weren't necessarily going the best for him. Like, oh, he didn't win a championship his rookie year. Like, but at the time it was easy to pick at because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you think you're the greatest? You didn't even make the playoffs. Like, what's but it was like he was still averaging 27, 7 and 7 his second year in the league. And it's like if he would have just had maybe a little bit more of a normal welcome to the NBA, and wasn't the chosen one. I think he probably wouldn't have had, uh, I don't know, the amount of hate that he gets. But when you look at it 25 years later, it's like they were right. So they did
Yeah.
it perfect. It might have cost him a little bit with like some of his fans, I guess. But I mean, I think he's doing just fine.
He's all
I
right.
think he's living pretty comfortable. I don't. He's probably not worrying too much. So it's just it was very intriguing to go back and just see the amount of media coverage at 16, 17, first year player in the league got. And they kind of called their shots, but they were right.
They were. So what's interesting is this doesn't stop. It's not like he gets in the league and, Cleveland materializes into a playoff team and then once that's the case, he just becomes another guy.
Hmm.
He still is standing out in a way that not really many other athletes have leading up to the game that we're covering today, which is Game 5 of the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals, Cleveland at Detroit. He misses the playoffs his first 2 years. They finally win 50 games in year 3. He he gets to the second round. They have a 3-2 lead on Detroit, and then they drop games 6 and 7. And you know, that is easy ammunition for everyone who was already in that anti-LeBron camp before he even played an NBA game. And
Right.
since he comes into the NBA, more and more people probably jump in because, like you said, he's getting covered and talked about in a way that guys who have already accomplished a whole lot more in the NBA aren't. They just aren't getting that kind of constant media attention, whether it be praise or scrutiny.
Right.
He's just kind of alone in a category by himself, really, with the exception of Kobe at that time. And that is probably why the divide between Kobe fans and LeBron fans becomes
It's
such
just
a talking point over the next decade.
right. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, just the idea of how great he was, and when you were saying like he was covered differently than guys who had done more, I want to push back a little bit on that. And it's because I don't know if anyone had done what he was doing at his age. Like, and I get what you're saying. Like, no, there had been guys
Yeah,
who
we're
won championships, and they had
yeah,
been guys who. But it's like, yeah, but you're watching something special because the kid's 20 and he's
yep.
dominating. And that's where, like, I don't blame necessarily, ESPN or whoever. It's like, he's special. You could see he moves differently. I mean, we're gonna get into Game 5 later, but he just, especially when he was younger. I mean, he's still obviously LeBron, but he looked so much different than any other player on the court. Um, but it was, Kobe and LeBron, and that's who they focused their coverage on. That's who they pivoted to. We talked about earlier in this series about how we kind of thought maybe it was going to go to Iverson, and I think it did go to Iverson initially right after MJ. And then I don't think the league liked that very much. And I think they saw, wow, we have this 18-year-old kid who plays basketball the perfect way. He makes the perfect play every single possession down the floor. He's got a great image. He's never been in trouble. He works hard. Let's go all in on him. And then on the other side, it was like, wow, we got this other guy in the West. He scored 80, but he's a headache. We kind of got to talk about him too. So it was those two that were getting covered, differently. But I also think like they deserved it. I, you know, don't blame anyone for how they covered LeBron. I think that it probably caused him maybe a little bit of, like I said before, hate just because people were jealous that he got it at such a young age, but we've never seen anything like him. And he's continuing to prove that 25 years later. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, you make a great point, and it's illustrated by the fact that like whenever you see the scoring graphics where it's like the fastest to 1,000 points, the fastest at 10,000, like it's always LeBron. So like, and before that it was always Kobe.
hmm
So it's like if we're saying these guys are getting too much attention too soon, well, if you're comparing it to the full 20-year scope of a career like Kareem, or the 15 years that MJ had, or Russell's not, or how many titles? 11 titles? Yeah,
yeah,
11. Um, sure, then yeah, the comparison isn't valid. But if we're just looking at like, okay, at 21 years old, has there been a better NBA player? Then that conversation is completely valid because
right,
every step of the way he proved that to be true and he backed it up. But it got to the point where, like you said, any little thing you could find to nitpick, people were starting to nitpick.
hmm
And the lead up to game five in the series is a good example. So, game one in Detroit, Cleveland's trailing late in the game. And LeBron drives to the basket and makes the correct play because as he drives, Rashid leaves Danielle Marshall in the corner, cuts off his path as he's driving. LeBron, beautiful cross court pass to Danielle, wide open three, misses it. Cavs lose. Very next game, game two, similar situation, down by one late in the game. This time, LeBron takes a contested jumper in the paint, misses, and he gets criticized for doing what people criticized him for not doing the first time. And it becomes such a big talking point. I was looking it up today. They're even asking guys in the Western Conference Finals series about LeBron in the middle of that series going on. There's a quote from Carlos Boozer, who played with LeBron his rookie year in Cleveland. He said, quote, "I feel bad for LeBron taking some of the criticism he's taken. First, he's criticized for passing the ball to a teammate standing there by himself. Then in that second game, he's got to be thinking, well, I've got to shoot, and gets criticized for holding onto the ball to take the last shot. Talk about a no-win situation."
yeah,
And it's like, goddamn right, Carlos Boozer and your chest hair. Like, it is a no-win situation. It is a
yeah.
no-win. Because he makes the right play, gets shit for it, then does what people, like, it just, it was constantly like
You know
that
what is just
for
also is
a
just crazy.
decade.
It's just wild to me is a lot of folks who don't necessarily love where the NBA is at right now, or has had issues with the NBA basically through LeBron's career. A lot of the times I feel like it's they're just playing one on one. There's no team ball. It's they're basically just hogging the ball. They're holding the ball. They're stopping the ball. It's one on. I don't like it. It's not pretty. He plays the game the way they want him to play because he makes the right play and he will be quick off the ball. It's not like he just holds the ball. He's not like Harden in that sense. And I don't understand why he had so much criticism, especially early on when he was playing the game similar to the way the game was played in the 80s. Like I don't understand why there was that issue. But yeah, I don't get it.
So I do think that there's a slight difference because he could be ball dominant, but it wasn't always a shot by him that ended
Right.
the possession. He was he was bending the defense in a way that no one else really could with the ball in his hands. And because he could, like, map the floor so well, it's a weapon to have him on the ball. So, like, in this game that we're going to cover, he is pretty ball dominant. It's not like he's getting off the ball a whole lot.
I would be
Not only
interested.
is that by necessity because Cleveland has nobody else who could
Right.
create any sort of offense, but if you're just trying to manufacture good looks for everyone else, the best path toward that is LeBron having the ball and bending the defense in a way where either he's getting the best shot possible or somebody else is.
I guess I'm just going off the criticism that I heard in the Kobe 81 point game. Because the criticism
Oh, sure.
that Kobe was getting from the broadcasters of that game was you're a ball hog, you're dominating
Yep.
the ball, you're stopping the ball. LeBron's doing none of that. I mean, yes, he's ball dominant, but he wasn't like I don't think he was overly like he didn't bring the ball up every single play and just pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll.
Right. No.
He did get into the offense a little bit. So as I'm watching him, like there's these two guys literally, no matter what they do, it's like they can't win.
No.
But yeah, yeah. Anyway,
So yeah, so they, he gets all that shit from games 1 and 2. They lose 79-76 in both of those games. Then they win games 3 and 4 back in Cleveland. He has a 32-9-9 in game 3, 25-7-11 in game 4. And then we have game 5, which is now and was immediately known as the 48 special. One of those games, the Kobe 81 point game, the flu game, it gets a title because of how impactful it was, how impressive it was. And you just know after you watch it, okay, this is going to be one of the defining games, not only of this player's career, but probably just in the whole tapestry of the National Basketball Association.
yeah. No, I mean, and the thing is like we talked about last week. This is a playoff game. This wasn't a regular season game against the Raptors. So there was a lot on the line in this game. Obviously, it's 2-2. Usually, the winner of Game 5 has a huge advantage to win the series. And yeah, this is one of those games that I think will be on. Well, maybe not because he has so many, but will be on maybe his top 15 games of his career.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I want to save this because this was my one big takeaway from the game. Just figuring out this game's place within his whole career. I think it is more than just top 15. And that says a lot because of how many more
You're right.
incredible games he's played.
I
I think just because of the timing of this one when
Yeah.
he's still only 22 years old. And this was his arrival. This was the first time that, for me as a LeBron fan, I remember thinking, holy shit, he might actually have a chance to be the greatest of all time. Before that, it's like, wow, he is incredible. He is one of the best players in the league. I'm 14, 15 at the time, just loving the experience of being a LeBron fan. But until this game, I don't think I ever let myself think like he could actually be the best ever. And this was the first time where it was like, yeah, this might be in the cards.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that it was a very important game to his legacy with where his career was at, and the fact that he was 22 years old and could play his way for an NBA Finals appearance and the way he played and all of that. I guess in my head, I just went to like, I think I could literally pick every single finals appearance against the Warriors and just be like, those are his best games ever because
You probably could.
I've never seen a basketball player play at that level before. So no, I don't. It's probably not in his top 15 best played games, but it's in his top
That
five
I'll agree with you on.
most important games.
Yes,
Because like
100%.
I'm watching the
Because-
Warriors, with KD, Steph, and it's like they're never gonna get beat. But LeBron is without a doubt the best player on the floor right now.
No, truth be told, the best game he's played in his career was probably Game 1 in 2018 Finals.
JR game.
Yeah, the JR game when he has 51.
Yep.
And I mean,
We'll
they
say
had
that.
no
We'll
business.
say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. We could say there's going to be a lot of LeBron talk
Yeah.
moving forward. But yes, you are right. This wasn't necessarily one of his 10 best played games in his career, but I think if we're just doing like a top 5 of his most important or impactful games, this
for
one's
sure.
probably higher on that list.
Yep.
So, Game 5, May 31st, 2007, a day after Kobe requests his trade from the Lakers. So we have these two guys at different pivot points in their career. They go into Detroit, and LeBron is flanked in the starting lineup by Larry Hughes, Sasha Pavlovich, Drew Gooden, and the little patch of hair he had on the back
Yep.
of his neck, and a balding Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
I have
And they're
a
going...
question.
Shoot.
Was Larry Hughes supposed to be good? I remember like going when they got Larry Hughes, it was like, oh, they got Larry Hughes, and I should know this. We have a podcast on this, but I know that he was solid with Washington, but he was really their number 2, and like, was it just Cleveland saying he was a good option at number 2, or like did he just not pan out? I guess is what I'm asking.
I think it was a little bit of both. I think at that time you're still there. Ilgauskas was really beloved in Cleveland, and he still is, and he probably to this day remains my favorite LeBron teammate. So I think Hughes.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on, wait, what?
No, not his best. We're not talking his best.
But you
Emotional attachment. I absolutely love Zydrunas Ilgauskas. I was told on 4th of July, we were going to a 4th of July parade in Lakewood, Ohio, and my soon-to-be brother-in-law told me Ilgauskas lives somewhere around here. And I was like, where? We have to find him. I have to meet him. I love Big Z.
That's awesome.
He is one of my all-time favorite basketball players. I appreciated the fact that every single Cleveland Cavaliers game, first possession, it was a post touch for Ilgauskas, non-negotiable. That is the first possession of the game for Cleveland. But anyway, back to Larry Hughes. No, so that 06-07 season, he's their second leading scorer. He averages 15 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. The issue with Hughes going into this postseason, banged up, he has plantar fasciitis throughout the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. So we're getting a diminished version of Hughes in these last two series because the Cavs aren't shorthanded enough.
Okay, thank you for that. Because as I was watching the game, I was like, I remember he was like a big, piece.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he just... Okay, thank you for the refresh there on the plantar fasciitis. That's not fun.
I have heard.
Ooh, not fun.
Have you had it?
Yeah, I actually had it on our conference finals my senior year. And the second half of my last game ever, I was like, just take me out. Like, just take me out to the pasture and go ahead and get me like old Yeller. But yeah, it was It was not. It's really painful. So I totally get why he looked like he couldn't move because that's what it was. It just looked
Yeah.
like he couldn't move.
No, and he only plays. He ends up playing only 29 minutes in this game, but he hits two threes early. He it's a gutty effort. He
Hmm.
playing with that kind of injury to give him 29 minutes. Props to Larry Hughes. Um, but that kind of that starting lineup tells a pretty compelling story about the state of the Cavs in 2007. Um, and it would become a recurring theme over his last 3 years there because they make all kinds of moves from the 07-08 season through 09-10,
Hmm.
whether it be the multi-team trade that brings in Ben Wallace and Delonte West and Wally Zerbiak, or you know acquiring Mo Williams or Shaq, trading for Antoine Jameson. They try, that's one thing that I'll give Cleveland credit for. It didn't necessarily work. They weren't always the right moves or the best moves, but they were not leaving any stone unturned. They tried, but this team that he brings to the finals, this is kind of before they really start trying to go all in to put a proper
Right.
supporting cast around him because they're just so limited in this
Yep.
game in this
Yep.
series.
Absolutely. And I mean, they're also playing against a really good team, and it was really fun to actually get to see a couple of our old podcast teams kind of combining up. So we had obviously this is our third, I think, Rasheed Wallace game.
Yeah.
Um, we have Chris Webber on the Pistons, so that was cool to talk. We had Webber. Um, and then, they also had Billups, Rip, and Tayshaun. And Tayshaun had gotten a lot better. So, like, the Cavs were playing against a really solid basketball team who had championship DNA. And that should definitely be, something that we discuss, too, as we got another teammate on the camera. Um,
Maki, you want to talk about the Cavs?
but no, I mean, like you said, you talk about Larry Hughes, Drew Gooden, Big Z, and Sasha, and you had Varejao coming off the bench with Boobie Gibson. Honestly, I think at that point, Boobie Gibson might have been their second best player with
I
Marshall.
mean, he definitely was throughout the last three games of this series, and then probably even into the finals. Booby had a big game four. He was 12 for
Yep.
12 from the free throw line. Um, Gives them decent minutes in this one, and
Yeah.
then game six we'll get to. That's his explosion. Um, but yeah, back to Detroit. This is their fifth consecutive Eastern Conference Finals appearance. And even though the team
Hmm.
is slightly retooled at this point, Ben Wallace has gone to Chicago. Um, but the front court is still fine. It's Rashid. Weber actually plays a pretty solid game here.
Yeah.
I always kind of
Headband
liked
Weber.
Jason Maxiel. I felt like he was a. What's that?
I said headband Weber.
Headband Weber, yeah, wearing 84.
Like a tight end.
Yep. Um,
No,
Jason
Maxwell.
Maxiel, I always thought Maxiel gave good minutes off the bench, and
Mhm.
then McDyess, who only plays a few minutes in this game, and this is one of the key points early on. He gets called for a flagrant foul on Verjao late in the first quarter, and gets tossed. So
Mhm.
he only plays 4 minutes in this game, and that ended up being huge to
Yeah.
not have that one other guy, uh, you know, providing you with front court depth. Um, because he was a big piece of that team and just replacing the presence of Ben Wallace.
Absolutely, absolutely. And honestly, I were you shocked by the ejection?
Um, I mean, I feel like it was definitely a flagrant.
Yeah,
I
it
I don't
was for
I don't
sure.
necessarily think that he should have gotten tossed. I
Right.
think that kind of feels more like a flagrant one, especially in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'm trying not to be biased here, but I think in today's game they just call that a flagrant one, but um, could be wrong. And I think basically I'm just pointing out that the game wasn't significantly more physical, back then than it is now. But it was a very big factor, but at the same time it wasn't Chauncey. So I don't think
No,
that, this is anything that's like watered down.
no, I mean, McDyess is giving them 6 points, 5 rebounds per game in this
Right.
series. It is just a depth piece. You have six
Yep.
more fouls that you could dish out, a little bit more size that you could play. Weber at this point is 13 years into his career. You probably don't want him logging huge minutes. So it just, it has a minimal impact at the very least. It's not
Right.
Draymond getting suspended for game
Exactly.
5 in
Exactly.
2016. But, definitely is something I think worth pointing out. If you're a Pistons fan who's like looking back on this series and
Yeah.
thinking, man, what if?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so yeah, that's Detroit. Then Cleveland, you named a couple guys off the bench. You have rookie Boobie Gibson, you have Varejao, you have old Danielle Marshall, and you have pre-gambling addiction Damon Jones. And, and that's kind of it. That is the lineup that you're getting. Um, Scott Pollard gets 15 seconds of playing time in this game.
Wait, what? How did I
Yeah,
miss him?
because he only played 15 seconds.
Okay. Huh. Huh.
Scotty P, another guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
My credo.
no regrets. Um, and then Eric Snow for 8 minutes, who actually gave them pretty good minutes. Another Eric Snow game too. We've had
Eric Snow gave good Eric Snow minutes. I'm not sure if he gave good.
yeah, but no, on a weighted scale of like for an Eric Snow game in 2007,
Yeah.
not bad.
Not
So
bad.
really, what he provided, and this was something I wanted to bring up to you because we've been watching all these games. We start with 2000, we're up to 2007 now. This was the first game that I remember seeing a team like really picking on the weakest defender
Yeah.
because Detroit was routinely going after whoever, like if whoever Boobie Gibson was on, or whoever Damon Jones was on, or whoever Sasha Pavlovich was on. It was just we're isolating you on one side. If you're on Billups, we're posting up Billups. We're just gonna let him pick on you. They were doing the same thing with Hamilton, with Prince. It was the first time that I felt like we've seen a game where over and over again that was the offense. It was just mismatch hunting.
Yeah, and you like kind of you notice it because Chauncey would bring someone up in a ball screen, get the switch he wanted, and almost get off the ball and go take his guy to the post.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I guess I haven't. Most of the games that we have watched, it's been like a very structured offense. Obviously, the Suns was a little bit more up tempo, pick and roll. But the other offenses were more like continuity offenses, like obviously the triangle or corners offense. And yeah, Detroit was just like, all right, we're going to get you in a ball screen. We're going to get who we want on who, we're going to give the ball to at the end of the shot clock. And then they went to work. And I felt like they lived at the line. I just felt like Cleveland
There were a
just
lot of free throws in this game.
yeah, Cleveland just couldn't keep anyone in front, or Chauncey would get someone to bite on a pump fake, and they were picking on guys for sure.
Yeah, Detroit was 35 for 43 from the free throw line. Cleveland was 28 for 39.
Yeah,
So that's 82 free throws, and it goes to double overtime. So factor that in. But there were a lot of trips to the line. It wasn't
yeah,
necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing watch we've had.
No, it
Uh,
wasn't actually. And I kind of going into it, I was because I remember watching it, but I don't remember everything about it. And I was kind of expecting it to be kind of like fast and um, very like smooth. And it wasn't. And that's more impressive for LeBron, obviously, as we get to him later. Because it's a lot easier to just go off in a game where it's kind of just easy, good
Up and
flow,
down. Yeah.
up and down. But when it's choppy, you could tend to throw off your rhythm. So yeah, no, there was a lot of free throws, but Detroit they used their core, set of players that had played together what it felt like at that time for like 15 years to really get an advantage every time down. And Eric Snow he did put up a fight. You weren't posting Eric Snow up, that's for
No,
sure.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, for Eric Snow minutes, they were decent minutes because at the
Yeah.
very least, you took Detroit out of what they were doing
Yep.
possession after possession when it was Damon Jones or Boobie Gibson on the floor. Now, he gives you nothing offensively. Um, Absolutely nothing. And you really couldn't play him and Verajao on the floor together just because, like, two non-shooters
How do
on a
we feel
team.
about Varejao? I'm sorry, we probably got to get into the game, but are you a Varejao guy too?
Um,
He's not good, right? Like
no,
we
he
can say.
he
No, I'm not saying
he.
not good. He's a solid role player, but for the love affair that Cleveland had with him, you would have thought the guy was Charlie Sheen in Major League. Like, what's going on with it? Everyone's rocking the hair.
I mean, his nickname was Wild Thing.
Was it really? Yeah, it was because I used to play the song too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, like the Charlie Sheen thing is very spot on.
yeah.
Um, Aside from like the Adonis
Yeah,
DNA and winning
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
No, Verajao, he to me is the classic. You enjoy him if he's on your team. You hate him if
Right.
you have to go against him.
But do you
And
hate him as a LeBron fan? Because it's like you can't get me a stretch four. Give me Joe Smith. Go get me Joe Smith. And they
no,
did.
I much preferred the Verajao minutes over the Joe Smith minutes
Wow.
from having lived that as a Cavs fan.
Okay. Okay.
Because here's the thing, Verajao, like he was all up in Rashid's head in this game. Rashid was getting all bent out of shape.
Right.
He was just a goddamn pest
I guess just
to have to deal with.
when I look at this Cavs roster, and granted, I have to remember it's 2007. This damn Suns Kobe game got me thinking it's modern day. Um, but like, there's just you're playing with LeBron, get him spacing, and that's why like if you want to bring in hot soup Damon Jones, or if you want Boobie Gibson to be in, like go for it. But I don't know. That's just me. Gooden, I'm good on Gooden. I'm good on Verajao. Big Z, I'll keep Big Z. We'll roll with it. But no, I'm not a big Verajao guy.
Back to the game. Detroit leads 29-23 at the end of one. It's the first time all series that they've had a lead greater than 5 points. The series from start to finish has been super tight, and really in this game, it remains the same. I think the biggest lead they have at any point is maybe 8 or 9 points.
I think 9.
Um, what's that?
I was gonna say I think 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one other thing that Detroit was doing that I found interesting, just strategically, schematically, what they're doing, they were throwing some zone
Yep.
Cleveland,
Yep.
um, which I thought was interesting. Just a 3-2 zone in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was a little unexpected. I don't really remember them doing that. Um,
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but then it's like, well, it's when you think of like the lineup that the Cavs had in, kind of made sense, right?
Sure.
You don't have that much shooting, so yeah, I, it let's make someone else make a play. And that, when LeBron had the ball, they were so loaded up on him. If he was on
Hmm.
the left side of the wing, they would have, the wing defender on the 3-2 guarding him head up, but then they'd also have the low man on that block, and they'd have the top guy on the 3-2 shaded his side. And then there was two guys in help, even behind it. So, I mean, they did a nice job of, like, getting him out of his spots and making him hit pull up jumpers. Now, he ended up getting to the basket quite a bit too, especially late. But in the beginning of the game, it felt like they did a good job of keeping him out of the paint. I mean, he was super efficient, but I think he was, what, 2 of 3 with 6 points
Hmm.
um, in the first quarter,
Yeah, he
or at
eases
least, like,
into things, which is not
yeah.
abnormal for LeBron.
No, no,
Uh,
but I think that maybe, the zone did a little bit of just slowing him down.
no, that was definitely in part because of what Detroit was doing
Right.
defensively.
Yep.
Between the zone that they were throwing at them, and even when they're playing man, just the ability to help so far off
Hmm.
of some of these non-shooters, and even the guys who were supposed to be shooters, who just weren't hitting shots in this game.
Right.
And then they were just trying everyone on LeBron. I mean, Prince was getting the assignment. Billups got a lot. They had Lindsey Hunter out there on him
Yep.
for a while. Like it seemed like they were comfortable when they would get like Max Seal on a switch with him. They weren't like even too panicked about that. They were just throwing everything they could at him all throughout the game, and he's easing into it early, and then we get to the third quarter and the Pistons go on a 9-2 run to start the third quarter. So at that point, they're up by 8, and it's kind of feeling like, oh man, here we go. The Cavs have been getting killed in the third quarter throughout the series. It's happening again, and that is really when he starts to get a little more aggressive. He's
Yep.
not settling as much. He starts getting to the basket a little bit more. Um, and Cleveland ends up going on a 14-4 run to tie it at 65, and a play that I noted. It's such a typical LeBron play, and a shout out to Verjao because this was something he was actually very good at. Um, a really good cutter when LeBron was driving, and there was a play where LeBron catches it right wing, drives baseline, and gets like caught up under the basket. I don't remember who the Detroit big was who came to like contest the layup. And LeBron hangs in the air and then just fires a pass last minute to Verjao who's cutting, and he gets the layup. And like that was the value of Verjao. He
Right.
was really good at those things. Um, but yeah, they get right back in the game. Um, and then by the end of the third quarter, it's 70-70 after a Boobie Gibson three at the buzzer to tie it at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. In my notes, I noted that mark where the Pistons go up 8, and my next note was LeBron starts to play bully ball, and the Cavs
Yep.
tie. He had a good half in the first half. He ended with 13, 6, and 5. But again, wasn't that aggressive to the rim, right? Like you saw his body more on defense, just being impactful with his rebounding and the way he could move his feet and all of that. But on offense, he wasn't necessarily playing with his body that much in the first half. And then the Pistons go up 8, and everything's downhill. Like everything just feels like the defender's on his heels and LeBron's got the advantage.
Here for the Cavaliers. Pistons have got home. Here's James, and he is fouled by Weber.
See, I like when he does that. When he just, you can't stop him right now.
James backing Prince. It's inside off the spin. fake. Here's LeBron. 19 points for LeBron James.
He wasn't just forcing shots. He did hit Varejao for that nice cut. He also, I think, hit like 3 or 4 other guys that were open for either layups or jumpers that missed.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of potential assists that didn't go his way, but it was all because of the force he started playing with. Just everything was so physically just dominant and downhill. And yeah, Booby hits that big 3 to tie the game into the fourth. Shout out! I like Booby. He was solid, and something about the jerseys too. That's like he's one of the guys I think about when I see the Cavs in these jerseys for sure.
No, he definitely is. I as a rookie on that stage to perform the way that he did, I thought he was going to end up being not like a star by any means, but I expected more from his career than he ended up actually producing. It's still weird to me that it didn't work out better than it did.
Right. He's like a perfect backup point guard to me.
Right, exactly.
But now we're into the fourth quarter and it's tied, and it's LeBron starts the fourth quarter, but then comes out for like 2 minutes. I was interested to kind of see in the first half, he got 6 minutes of break, in about 6 minutes of break in the second quarter, and the bench actually kept it relatively close. So you would think that his normal rest would probably be after the end of the third. He would probably get an extended blow and then finish the game off. Instead, he starts the quarter, plays 2 minutes, goes to the bench, and then comes back with 8 minutes. And the Cavs are up 3.
Yeah, they outscore Detroit 5-4 in the 3 minutes that he's on the bench in the fourth quarter. And it was only 9-8 in favor of the Pistons in the second quarter. So like all the shit that we have talked about the supporting cast in this game at the very least held their own.
That's what I was going to say. I felt like it was a very important segment where, LeBron could get his rest and come in and finish the game, with that attacking mentality. And the bench did a really nice job. And then, things there's a little run. The Detroit goes on a little run and ends up going, they're up 7, I think, with 4 minutes left. And I feel like at that point, LeBron turns it into an even higher gear.
Yeah. So rewinding a little bit, the run that LeBron goes on, which is 29 of their last 30 points, starts at the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter. He makes a top of the key 20-foot jumper over Hamilton. And this was right at the start of the how is LeBron's jumper looking discourse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that became such a talking point in basically every playoff series that he would play in from 2007 to 2000.
Wow.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of the shit stopped in 2016 when he gets the title. So I was going to say then. And then really, that Golden State game that we alluded to before, he's just hitting every
I'll say it should have stopped then.
Yes.
Has it stopped? No.
No.
But yes, you're right. It should have stopped then. Yes.
So yeah, that's such a big question, and early in the series it wasn't. Fortunately, in Game 5, it is, but it's interesting to me that the start of this 29 out of 30 point run starts with a jump shot. But yes, you're right. Detroit ends up taking an 88-81 lead with 3:15 left. After Detroit goes mismatch hunting, they get Gibson on Hamilton. They post up Hamilton. He hits 2 free throws. So it's 88-81. 3 minutes left. Next possession, Cavs run a high screen and roll. LeBron finishes with the left hand at the basket. It's an and one. And like you said, it's all downhill. He misses the free throw. Sasha Pavlovich gets offensive rebound. Drew Gooden ends up getting fouled on a drive to the basket. Hits 1 free throw, and that's the last non-LeBron Cav point of the game. So it's 88-84, and from here on out, LeBron scores all 25 points for Cleveland.
That lefty
Where do you want to
lay
go
was
next?
so clean. Oh, the
What's
lefty
that?
lay. That lefty lay was so clean. Yeah, he got into the lane, jumped off his left foot, and like switched it to the left. So clean. And then then he got cooking. Like at that point, it's weird. He misses the free throw, which I don't know. I always felt like after I missed a free throw, I didn't have confidence in my jumper. Obviously not. That's why I'm not LeBron. Because the next possession he comes down.
I mean, I think that's probably the only reason.
And then the next possession he comes down, buries a 3, to cut the game to 1, and then he comes up with a steal and goes coast to coast, gets fouled, but then misses both free throws again. And it's like, what are you doing? You just hit a pull-up 3. Now you're missing free throws.
What he gets, his next bucket is the left to right crossover past Max Seal. And he goes to the basket and finishes with a dunk. That may be the highest I've ever seen him
Yes.
jump on a dunk.
After he made the shot, the dunk going right, which I feel like he has that same play like 3 straight times, but the first one was like his head was at the like top of the box. It was incredible. But then after he makes that dunk, Chauncey comes back and hits a 3.
Yes. Right in Boobie Gibson's grill. Puts Detroit back up 91-89, 23 seconds left. Next possession, LeBron gets a step on Tayshaun Prince and finishes with another right-handed dunk to tie it at 91 apiece. And then Billups comes so damn close to making a buzzer beater over Eric Snow. Just rims out, and we go to overtime. Heading into overtime, 9 ties, 17 lead changes in the game. So we're talking about how it wasn't necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing game. There are a lot of trips to the free throw line. This game was among the most dramatic games that I remember as a LeBron fan.
Well, I feel like when he went to the bench for overtime and again after the first overtime, it looked like he was in the corner of a boxing match. Because like we had mentioned, he's going downhill, it seems like every single time. And you're playing against the Pistons. And no, it's not, Lambeer and them boys, but it's still the Pistons with Rasheed Wallace, and he was getting hit on every single drive.
Yeah.
And he kept getting up, and he kept doing it, and he was all over the floor on defense. He looked gassed, and that's no knock on him. It was a very physically demanding game. And he did. It looked like it was taking a toll on him a little bit.
And not only that, but he's about 95 games into the season. He averaged 41 minutes a game in the regular season. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Oh, here, I can pull it up.
Yeah, and he's 22 playing against 35-year-olds.
He averages 45 minutes a game in the playoffs. The 2 years prior, in the regular season, he averages 42 minutes a game.
Right.
So he's already putting a lot of miles on his body. And like you said, it's all downhill. And so much of what the Cavs had to do offensively revolved on him getting someone a shot, whether it was himself or someone else. So
And I'm sorry, but I was working out with my brother coaches a high school team, and we were doing some individual skill stuff. And I was trying to teach the importance of not every possession is going to be a shot, but you could have a great possession every time down the floor. And it could be as simple as just get to the lane and kick it out. And that's something that I just feel like LeBron did amazing, especially in the second half, is every time down the floor, it felt like he had a purpose. And no, he might have missed the shot, or his teammate might have missed the shot, but the operation of the possession went well. And I think that is something that, he's mastered. And I hope kids that, play basketball understand that, you're not going to shoot 100%. Your teammates are not going to shoot 100%. But how many times could you just come down on offense and do the right thing? And if you could do that throughout the game, you're going to have success. And I just wanted to point out that he was so good at that.
no, that is a fantastic point and a great lesson for anyone who's trying to become a good basketball player. It is just amazing to me because for him, there were no possessions off.
No.
Kids who are playing high school basketball, in all likelihood, there's going to be a possession where they don't even touch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He had the ball in his hands every play. So the physical and the mental load of how do I read this defense? Who is going to get the shot? How are they defending me? Where's the help coming from? There are just a million micro decisions that he has to make in his head every possession. And in this run where he scores 29 of 30, the majority of the shots he's taking them too, and there are no easy looks. I mean, some of the jumpers that he was making, he had two guys on him. So first overtime, he attacks a basket very first possession. He comes out of the timeout between fourth quarter and overtime where he looks exhausted. He gets fouled, hits both free throws. His next bucket came about a minute and a half later. He's off the ball. Snow. What?
The back
What's that?
door.
The back door. Pass to Ilgauskas at the elbow, and LeBron cuts back door. Ilgauskas makes a great overhead through, above the arms of Rashid pass to LeBron. Another right-hand slam. That ties it at 95. Again, next time down, attacks the basket again. This time he's hit by Rashid.
Yep.
Splits two free throws. It's over and over again. A minute 17 gets tripped up on a drive. Foul gets called on Maxiel. It wasn't even like a lot of contact on the play, but
Right.
the fall.
Right.
It's just one after another where he's getting hit by somebody or having to exert energy to make that hard backdoor cut.
Yeah.
It keeps going, and then I think one of the memorable moments, and if we're looking at the announcers of the game, Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Steve Kerr, there's a moment 33 seconds left in the first overtime when LeBron's guarded by Billups. Varejao comes up, sets a screen. Maxiel hedges hard. LeBron's dribbling right, and he hits a foot on the line, fading right jumper to put Cleveland up 196. And that's when Marv Albert says this has to be considered one of the greatest postseason performances of all time. Mm-hmm. So, I remember in that moment as a 15-year-old who is... It's sad how how into the Cavs I was as a teenager. Like looking back on it, it's like, man, you really needed to get your mental health in check. Like it's no wonder you're in therapy right now as a 33-year-old. Because I can remember in that moment just like being such a bundle of nerves and
Uh,
simultaneously amazed at what I was watching. Because, Marv called it, and he only has 39 points at the time, but Marv sees it and he's like, we're already witnessing something truly special here.
yeah, because I mean, he's only got 39 at the time, but 26 are in the second half and overtime. Like he turns it up. And yeah, that if only he would have just been 2 feet behind the line, because the damn Pistons just don't go away.
They don't. And it's the championship DNA
Mm-hmm.
of this group with Billups and Hamilton and Rashid. They've been in so many wars at this point.
Yep.
Rashid gets fouled by Verajao on a fadeaway jumper in the post. He hits both free throws.
Yeah.
So Cavs are up by 2. Next possession, LeBron actually airballs an ISO jumper over Hamilton. It was the one play in this stretch where you're like, that actually wasn't the right play.
It's funny too because it was the one play where you knew everyone who was on that other camp was like, see? He just made 8 plays in a row, but see, he missed that one.
You're absolutely right.
And I just thought I was watching it and I was like, ooh.
That's such a good point.
Yep. And then, but, that's when Detroit gets the ball and Chauncey drives to the basket. And I think it was a Gibson, maybe. I think was he attacking Gibson again? Gets fouled and goes
Snow, actually.
Was it Snow? Was it
It was
Snow?
Snow,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, he gets him at the top of the key, and he gets past him, gets to the line, and sinks both free throws. So now it's like we're headed for second overtime, double overtime, and just with the way the teams were structured, like Detroit, they were older, but they had the ability to share the load. And
Yeah.
going into the double overtime and looking at LeBron, I was like, I don't know how he's going to be able to muster up the energy to get through this. And then he shuts me up really quickly because he starts the second quarter or second overtime with a jumper. And then, that's the after is the signature play. But I think it's the first possession of overtime. He hits a jumper.
Yeah, it's a falling left step back over Tayshaun
Yep.
that like puts him right in front of the Pistons bench.
Yep.
And I think some words are said afterward because he comes running back down the court with like kind of a smirk on his face.
Oh, that's the best feeling in the world when you hit a shot next to the opposing bench.
Yeah.
Whew. But yeah.
So yeah, then he doesn't get another bucket for about 3 minutes of game action. There was a stretch here where there was way too much Sasha Pavlovich going on. Sasha didn't get the memo that once they got to the second overtime, basically they just needed him to be like a living, breathing cardboard cutout who just posed
exist.
a threat.
Yeah,
Just exist. Be there.
Yeah.
Be 6'5" and stand on a basketball court.
Yep.
We don't need to do anything else. It's another like moment I remember in that moment being like, get this guy the fuck out of this game. I was so bent out of shape by what Sasha Pavlovich was trying to do. But yeah, so then a minute 50 left, the second overtime. This is the shot that I was saying earlier, the one over Bill, where it's the hard behind the back dribble from left to right. And like goes right into a shooting motion.
Yeah.
Goes behind the back. And the game is tied at 104.
That's too good right there. That was an amazing move. I've never seen him make that behind the back dribble.
I really don't remember seeing that before.
Yeah, it's something that Steph has done a lot. Like, especially Steph will do like a combo move where he goes in between the legs, right to left, and
Yeah, yeah.
then he goes behind the back, left to right, and then he'll
Yep.
shoot it.
Yep.
But LeBron just came down and did like a wrist roll in and out with his left to a behind the back, and like you're not gonna be able to see it, but it was like a super wide crossover. It wasn't tight necessarily.
Not at all.
Because he catches the ball like way out here, and it just comes right into his shooting motion. Yeah, it was. He definitely left Chauncey, and he got a clean look because that move was next level.
And I don't know if you caught it, but he gave a very abbreviated, like version 1.0 of the silencer to the Pistons.
Did he really?
crowd as he comes back? It wasn't like the authoritative stomp one, but it was like
Yeah.
it was like the baby version of LeBron giving the silencer to the opposing crowd.
Kind of like when I think Kobe did that in the NBA Finals when he did the putback against the Pacers. I think he came because Shaq had
Yes.
fouled out.
Yep.
And yep.
But yeah, that was my I don't remember LeBron doing any version of the silencer before that. I'm sure he
Yeah.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
that was my first year with League Pass with the Cavs. So like, first 3 years of his career, it's not like I was grinding every Cavs game.
Right. But then Detroit comes back and takes like a lead. Like
They
that.
do.
Yeah.
They go up 107-104. Then, in truth, this is probably the most audacious shot of the game. LeBron has Billups and Weber hounding him, and he hits a fading left triple to tie it at 107. And I'm gonna use my editing here. We're gonna kick it to Steve Kerr and hear what Steve Kerr had to say.
Down to a minute 20 left in the second overtime. Here's James for three. Yes! And the game is tied at 107.
This is unbelievable. This is Jordan-esque.
46 points for LeBron James. He has scored the last 23 for the Cavaliers.
He calls the performance Jordan-esque, which in the moment felt pretty momentous.
Absolutely.
Not only because I that's such rare praise from any play-by-play or color commentator, but because I think too it came from Kerr, who was there with Jordan in the 3 championships from 96 to 98. I think it carried a little more weight because it came from him.
Sure.
So yeah, we're tied at 107 at that point. And then Pistons have a chance to take the lead late. And again, my man Varejao, Wild Thing, comes up with a block on Rashid in the post.
But could we play him at 5? Just play him at 5.
Oh, you
Like, just play him at 5.
Varejao at 5 with floor spacers around him, I'm all in.
That's all I'm saying. He's not a 4. He's just play him at. But then can't give him. Got to give Big Z the first post up. So what are we gonna do?
That's the
We'll
law.
play Eric Snow, Anderson Varejao, Big Z, and let's just okay, LeBron, get to the basket. No wonder he was exhausted. He had to fight his own guys to get to the basket, knocking into old Z, big old feet. Eric Snow's bald head knocking him around. Why did none of them have hair? They were all old. Big Z's bald. Eric Snow's bald. Varejao's the only one out there running around like an idiot. Sorry. But yes, Varejao makes a big play in the second overtime.
I'm gonna do something here. The last episode we talked about how Kobe, his 05-06 season was like Tony Montana
Yeah.
in Scarface. Varejao looks like Tony Montana's sister. Don't know. I can't be the first one who has caught that. He looks just like Gina Montana.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so Vereshao gets the block on Rashid, and then last possession for the Cavs. LeBron blows by Billups. It looks like he's going left, and then he slices between Prince and Maxeel and finishes with the
Scoop.
scoop layup on the right.
Yep.
Um,
Little jelly. The kids
but
might
still
say.
2 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Billups comes so damn close to hitting a game-tying runner that would have sent it into the third overtime. But it rims out. Cleveland wins. Cavs head coach Mike Brown kisses LeBron on the forehead after the game. LeBron just exhausted. Yeah, and that is that. That's game 5 in a nutshell. And then 2 nights later, back in Cleveland, behind a 3-point explosion by Boobie Gibson, the Cavs advance to their first NBA Finals appearance.
Yeah, and I think that is where, he's mapped himself as, at least, is he the best player in the league?
Yep.
I don't know if we start talking about him being the greatest ever. Obviously, the comparisons to Jordan are there, and the comparisons to the greats are there. He's not, even the media isn't covering him or giving him the attention that he is the best. They're saying he could be, but what they are starting to say is he is the best currently.
Yeah.
And I think that, that was a huge game for that. He gets to the finals now. He's done it with this roster, right? Because we keep comparing him to Kobe out west, and he wasn't able to get to the finals with this roster. Now he was able to win a championship, but he had Shaq. And at that time, that wasn't good enough for people. LeBron's doing it with who we just talked about. So I feel like, he really gets to take his place at the head table in the league after this game. And it's like, this league might not be solely mine, but I'm definitely, 1B, 1A, whatever, if it's not me.
Yeah. And I think that, it seemed like the reaction to the game, it was more about the weight of the performance, and that's something I'm actually grateful for, because I was doing a little reading after the fact, and it seemed like people shied away from the easy, like, is he greater than whoever kind of conversation in post-game articles. A lot of it was just like, this is a performance for the ages. Something that we're going to remember for years to come. Like, Bill Simmons wrote a column after the game, and he said, if you care about basketball, you'll remember where you watched this game 20 years from now. If you care about basketball, it meant something when Marv Albert blessed the night by calling it one of the greatest performances in NBA playoff history.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, it makes sense for me because I am a LeBron fan. But I do have a memory where I remember where I was for a lot of the most important games in league history. Mm-hmm. I remember everything about this game. I was watching it with my parents and our cousin Paulie, friend of the pod. Mm-hmm. A peek inside of my mental state. Games 3 and 4, you know those frozen ice pops that you have during the summer?
Yeah.
I had one in each of the fourth quarters in games 3 and 4. The Cavs won. I had to have about 15 of those throughout this game because I was convinced it was good luck.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man. I don't think that's even, it's
I mean, my tongue and mouth were exceptionally blue because I was hitting the blue raspberry ones hard.
That's all right.
But
when Duke plays, I don't eat, so I won't eat the whole thing. That
Oh
I
God,
I
you go on
fast.
a hunger strike.
I fast. I don't know why. Don't know why. I did it. I don't know why. I did it one time once and it worked, and now ever since, like 10 years ago, and now I just don't eat during Duke games. I'll eat, yeah, I binge eat after, but yeah,
I
that's
bet.
so yeah, the popsicles thing, you're good. You're good. You're just
Okay,
hydrated.
good. I mean, I definitely wasn't cramping anytime soon after that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
You know
but
what's
yeah,
interesting though?
what's that?
I was just gonna say, you know what's interesting is I do feel like, in the moment, as you talk about Bill Simmons and the broadcast and what they had said, I do feel like we appreciated it. In the basketball community, appreciated it, but it just felt so short lived in a sense. Because then he goes to the finals and they play the Spurs, and it's the Spurs. It's like the legitimate Spurs, the dynasty Spurs, who like this Cavs team had no business playing it. LeBron certainly, but you could only take your guys so far by yourself, and
And this
the,
was a version of the Spurs too, where like Duncan was still close to his
that's what
age,
I mean.
and you were getting really good versions of Manu and
And
Parker. Like
Parker,
this was the closest of like their timeline being synced.
yes, yes, they were the dominant Spurs, who
Hmm.
went to finals like it seemed like every other year,
Yep.
and it like became a reality check. And instead of like, wow, he got the Cavs to the finals, and it just we need to get him more help. It kind of went back to, well, he's clearly not the greatest. He just got swept, and it's just a kind of a bummer that we weren't able to just hold on to that appreciation a little bit longer. But I do think that it leads to um, something that happens, in the next couple off seasons that change him and change Kobe. And I think that maybe if they would have won 2 games and not been swept, maybe takes a different approach to certain things.
Hmm.
So it could have been a blessing, getting to the finals, but still not getting like the crowning achievement where it's like people start to lay down to you and bow down to you. It maybe was the best thing for him. He gets there, but he doesn't get the reward. And I'm super excited to kind of see what happens next that gets both our favorite players past that hump.
We fast forward a year from the '07 finals to the '08 off season, where LeBron gets beat by the Celtics in a classic Game 7, where again he does just about everything he can to will
Yep.
Cleveland to a win. They don't get over the hump. They lose to Boston in Game 7. 2 rounds later, Boston beats Kobe. And you have these two superstars who are positioned to be the heir apparent to Jordan, who enter a summer where, because it's every 4 years, they get to be teammates for the U.S. Olympic team in a really crucial point in USA basketball that we'll get to next episode. And I think that summer together, in so many different ways, changes the trajectory of both of their careers.
Absolutely. No, and like you mentioned, this wasn't just like a normal USA summer. This was like a must have it. It's something that we've never seen in our lifetime before,
No,
frankly.
nope.
I don't think, really since or well, I guess yeah, it's in our life. I was gonna say I don't think since professionals have been able to play, we've seen it, but we're unfortunately that old. So um, we're in that. So yeah, in our lifetime, we have never seen a summer with this much importance with USA. Um, and they bring in the two top dogs, and yeah, it's going to be a fun watch. It's going to be a fun hangout on our next one. But overall, I was just super impressed with just LeBron's ability to just make the right play over and over and over again at such a young age, with so much scrutiny. It didn't get to his head. He didn't just start chucking, and he got his team to the NBA Finals. So, but I am curious, what was your biggest takeaway from today?
So I would at some point want to give this a little bit longer of a thought, but I think that this is on the Mount Rushmore of his most important performances.
That's fair.
I think it's this game. I think it's Game 6 against Boston in 2012. I think it is Game 7, 2016 against Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take your pick of Game 6 or Game 7 against San Antonio in 2013, and I think that's probably your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And we're leaving out so many incredible games, and that speaks to the longevity and the dominance and just like an absolutely remarkable career that we're gonna cover a number of times moving forward throughout NBA Campfire.
And the Modern Flame.
And LeBron might not be done. We might still get another one. He fucking guy's 41 years old, and he might be playing deep into the playoffs this year if Luka and Austin Reeves keep this up. Who knows?
Absolutely.
And there, you better believe that there's one more Cleveland year coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll go on record and say that right now. He's going to be in a Cavaliers uniform next year.
I think so. I think so because I think Reeves is playing himself into a nice contract, and I think the Lakers are going to want to keep that backcourt, and that might mean less money for LeBron. And I also think, like, hypothetically, say New York knocks off Cleveland this year, Cleveland has the team to win, and he honestly kind of fits what they need. It's just insane. It's just insane. He's still gonna play. He's gonna play until I'm 50. But ultimately he's not, and that's why we need to appreciate him. And I'm glad that we were able to appreciate one of his games from when he was very young in his career. We're talking about the last 25 years of basketball. That is LeBron James. Can't run from it. I'm a Kobe fan, but you have to admit, when someone's that great. So, yeah.
Well, we were talking about it the other day. Like, surely we could be accused of bias for how many Kobe and LeBron games we're going to have here. But
yeah.
when you win a combined 9 titles and play a combined almost 40 years in the 2000s alone, and you're 2 of the 10 or 5 or some very exclusive number best players ever, we're gonna cover you a lot. So deal with it.
Yeah,
you're getting a lot of Mamba, you're getting a lot of King James.
That's a fact.
All right, my man, any closing thoughts?
Just, keep the flame on. Hope everyone's enjoying. Want to thank everyone for listening, and I really want to just shout out the Modern Flame. We're gonna get that going. We'll have plenty of more episodes by the time that this drops. So give that a watch, and then anything that my man's writing, go ahead and give that a subscription to.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.